everyone, and welcome to No Credentials Required. This podcast is part of the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and we're going to have a special show tonight for you. The first thing we're going to do is introduce you to a pretty cool guy who is in the Albany, New York area, originally from downstate, big New York Rangers fan. That's okay because I'm a New Jersey Devils fan, and but I looked at this, I looked at his stuff, and there's some pretty cool stuff that he's doing. So I'm going to bring in my new friend, Tolik Borts from alternate.com. So, Tolik, how are we doing tonight, buddy?
Wonderful, brother. Thank you so much for having us on. It's really cool for us to give us some time and a platform to spread awareness. So we really appreciate it.
Awesome. So, well, let's start with the first. Let's do first things first. Let's talk about where you're from. How big of a hockey fan were you growing up? So, where are you from originally? And tell us about a little bit about your fandom.
Absolutely. I mean, my family and I were from St. Petersburg, Russia. I was born there. We immigrated here at the fall of the Iron Curtain. We settled in Brooklyn, New York, in 1992. So I was 8 years old. 2 years later, the Rangers, New York Rangers, hoisted their Stanley Cup, first one in 54 years. So I was instantly captivated. I became a diehard fan from there. I mean, when you're a little kid, you come from one state or one country or another, and a team or the sport that you love takes the championship, you feel like they kind of won it for you, So yeah, I mean, ever since then, diehard. I probably watched every single game, every single season. We've had our dark ages. So yeah, ever since then, 26 years after that, we're still going strong in terms of being fans and supporting our community. Yeah, it's been a tough ride, personally, socially, coming here from one country to another. So a lot of what we do for not-for-profit, I personally relate to, because coming here without a lot of resources, a lot of finances, and my parents kind of taught us to never take anything you have for granted and always work hard for what you do. So we'll get into everything that we like to do for the community and our children.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, that's a great lesson to learn, especially at a young age, and when you're coming from like you said, Tolik, when you're coming from another country, and you don't know a whole lot of the customs, you kind of get, but the one common factor wherever you go is that you work hard for what you earn. So that's a great lesson to have, especially that kind of especially that young of an age.
Yep.
So. After, let's talk about your charity or your website here, alternate.com. What was the inspiration behind starting the website?
Well, the inspiration obviously is the pandemic, when everything started and masks became an absolute necessity. We took a little bit of a more of a unique approach. We kind of connected our fandom and the need for masks when you couldn't absolutely find them anywhere. So we took our own T-shirts and jerseys out of our own private collection, and I teamed up with a wife and husband there in Brooklyn, where I actually grew up. And she's a professional seamstress. He's a production manager. In a little small shop that they have there. She was making dresses, but when no one's allowed to come out, they had no business. So what we started doing was taking a licensed T-shirt or a jersey and simply repurposing them into face masks. So keep in mind, none of our material is ironed on or screened. So it's not like we print a logo and put it onto a mask and sell it to fans, raise money, and put it into a non-for-profit. We went the right way about it. It's like going to a Joann's or Michael's and buying like the sports material and making them into like baby clothing and so on and so forth. So we took the correct approach on this. We started a couple of social media groups. When we ran out of our own T-shirts and jerseys, we started having some followers and some fans where they were donating these shirts and jerseys to us to continue with our project, to continue making these masks for fans and raising the money, so we can donate the leftover material or any material we were sent to primarily to hospitals. So the whole theory behind it was to donate masks to hospitals, EMS stations, first responders, and obviously our essential employees. We're still strong with that project. We still continue donating them to our community members as well. Like I said, primarily to hospitals. Now that a little bit more of the PPE and masks are available, we still continue to sell to fans, especially now attending back into like the Garden, for example. I was at the game yesterday, and a lot of masks a lot of our masks were featured there.
Oh, cool.
But, what was really cool was when we started this project, a lot of the ex-NHLers somehow took notice online. So we kind of took that and ran with it. They were contacting us. We were donating these masks. I mean, long and behold, they were taking selfies, posting it on social media, tagging us.
So let me interrupt you real quick. Which players have bought your masks and tagged your masks on social media?
So to begin with, it was Ron Duguay, Ron Greshner, Matthew Barnaby, Darius Kasparaitis, a couple of really cool active NHLers, including Adam Graves. We had some support from Mark Messier as well. But the really cool thing is that before the pre-qualifying rounds last year, before the playoffs started, the actual New York Rangers organization gave us a call.
Oh, wow.
Asking us for masks. So we had the wonderful opportunity to donate masks like with custom numbers. I should have probably had it here for you to show you, but it's on our ultranight.com website. So that kind of like really took off. Every single player and every single coach got their own custom number. They were featured on social media and on TV. So yeah, that was pretty. It was a humbling experience, but exciting at the same time. A mixed emotion. When you're a fan, and you have the wonderful opportunity to give back to the team that you love so much, it was out of this world. So yep.
I've experienced that myself. When a couple for 7 years, I was actually team chaplain for the Albany Devils franchise.
Yeah.
So that was a cool opportunity because I'm a double. Like I said, like I mentioned to you, Tolik, I'm a New Jersey Devils fan. I was born in New Jersey. I chose them as my team when I was first starting into hockey. So it's like, hey, New Jersey team, very cool. So to be not so much a part of that organization, but connected to it and reaching out to players. Being a minister to them, that's super cool. So I guess I definitely identify and see where you're coming from in terms of connecting yourself to the team personally and being involved with them. So that's a really cool thing to find out that the team you grow up watching and you want to help out during what's basically a really I guess you would say dire situation, trying to help out with masks. Trying to supply them with masks is. That's a pretty fascinating story.
It is, and we connected because we put so much love and heart into every mask we make. I mean, you can only use so much from every single mask, but again, jerseys aren't exactly cheap themselves, and we were buying our own jerseys. We were using our own, and when we were running out, like I said, our own group members were sending them by the dozens. I mean, boxes were at our front door. So it was a really, really cool experience to see throughout a tough time like this pandemic, of so many people just giving back and coming together. So yeah, it really was. Regardless how you look at this whole time, it's this pandemic, this coronavirus, these masks, one way or another, they're going to be a part of our history. We're going to look back at this and say, hey, look, we went through this. We worked hard. We survived. Everyone, not just myself or you, everyone. It's going to be a part of our history. And it's going to be a cool little story to tell to our grandkids, I guess.
Yeah. So is it just Rangers masks that you offer?
No, that's a great question. Great question. No. So throughout this whole experience, starting from last March till today, we cater to almost any team. We don't discriminate. So it's like it's like you're a perfect example. You know, you're a New Jersey Devil fan. There may be some individuals out there that wouldn't have myself, Rangers fans, on the podcast to spread the awareness. But just because we're a Ranger fan, we took all orders. We take custom orders. As long as we could find that T-shirt or that jersey. Even fans themselves say, "Hey, listen, I got this really cool New Jersey Devils T-shirt jersey. You think you could convert it into a mask for me?" Absolutely. Send it to us, and we'll get that order processed, shipped right back out to you. We've accompanied about 37 states out of the 50, and we've
Wow.
shipped and accompanied about I believe 8 other countries: Russia, Italy, United Kingdom, Switzerland. List goes on. So it really is a pretty. We're still enjoying.
No, that's pretty cool. I'm looking at the website right now, and you know, you mentioned that you're a not-for-profit. And you mentioned that you are donating masks to hospitals if they didn't have PPE, or when people couldn't get PPE. Now they kind of we're kind of past that point where PPE is now we can get our own,
Right.
whether it be from a jersey or from another website. Have you kind of shifted to other organizations? For example, it's not just the doctor you're giving to, but are there other organizations that you're using the profits from these masks to give to? Like, what kind of charities are you giving to?
So we kind of used our quote unquote popularity and to launch a couple of other missions. So I mean, the big dream for myself and my brother, which we are co-founders along with my wife, we're kind of like a three-person army. The dream always to launch a non-for-profit, and this was the best opportunity to do so, having connected with our followers as well. So we put the paperwork in through the federal and state governments. We got approved, surprisingly, because everything was kind of at a standstill. What we do now is we support children's educational humanitarian programs. What we do is we collect secondhand sports equipment, primarily because we are derived from the sport of hockey, and distribute them to facilities, after-school programs, or just families or communities. We also raise monetary funds for registration and cost fees for those programs, such as hockey. Both you and I know that equipment and the registration and the cost fees to play within those seasons are I mean, through the roof. So they're expensive.
It's not cheap.
Yeah. So if a family's going through a tough time, especially during the pandemic, we're here to assist those families. Or that rink, if a child wants to continue or to start the sport that they love, we want to support that family. So we most recently teamed up with an organization by the name of the Hockey Foundation. What they do is they start hockey programs overseas. Due to unable to ship out equipment, they gave us a call on Christmas Day and donated 10 pallets of new and used children's hockey equipment to us.
Oh, wow.
We're on the process now, we're trying to partner up with small and big businesses and donors and sponsors in order for us to provide this equipment to these children, especially now that everything's kind of coming back to normal. Kids are coming back to their programs. So we want to make sure these kids are geared and they have the money to continue to play that sport. I mean, against my wife's wishes, I'm going to show you a little bit what I'm probably not even supposed to. So a lot of these boxes are in my garage.
Oh, wow.
So that's 10 pallets. Oh yeah. So it's the hardest job is I think going to be wasn't collecting this equipment. It's going to be the distribution of this equipment. So it's going to take rental trucks. It's going to take gas. So that's our next step in this process is trying to formulate connections and partners to support our program so we can continue to help these communities and these children to get what they need to continue. And our big plan is not only sports, not only hockey, it's performing arts, dance, art, anything to do with engaging and involving children within those communities. So yeah.
Very cool. So I want to ask you, how did you come up with the name Ultranite?
Oh, that's an awesome question. So yeah, as you can see, that's our little gear here. So
There it is.
ultra derived from the word altruist or altruism. It's an
Okay.
individual or group of people unselfishly concerned for the welfare of others.
Hmm.
So that's the word that these are the individuals that we are. We pay forward and we give it back. The knight is derived from the word Brooklynite. These are
Ah,
the that give back. So we kind of took these two words, we clapped them together, and Ultranite was born. My brother is actually the individual that came up with that name. He's our graphic designer. Uh,
nice.
Came up with this cool little logo here that you see before
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we have some cool things in the running here.
Very cool. Now, before we go, before I let you go, I want to ask you a hockey-related question. Since you're a New York Rangers fan, what's your feeling about the season so far this year?
Oh man, I mean, about my team or the season so far overall with any team.
Let's do both.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, 56 games expectations. I'm just thoroughly glad that hockey is back, that we get to enjoy it, that we get to watch it on TV. I mean, I honestly thought, I mean, it's like a lockout. I honestly thought we weren't going to play. I mean,
Hmm.
playing without fans is bad enough, but um, I actually got to attend one of those games at Madison Square Garden yesterday. It was a fantastic, thrilling experience to be back. I
Hmm.
missed it. I didn't have high expectations. New York Rangers, we still got so much more growing and building to do.
Hmm.
I'm kind of a little disappointed both in the way things are going for us, but it's all chemistry. It's like Jack Hughes for you guys. He's a kid. These guys are kids. Capo
Yeah.
Caco and Jack Hughes and Alexis Lafreniere. Not everyone is a Sidney Crosby, Ovechkin, and a McDavid. Year
Right.
one, two, three. They're super gigantic superstars that are almost destined, to be in the Hall of Fame. A lot of these, they're kids. They got a lot to learn and to grow. So I'm one with patience. I'm not a doctor, but I do have patience. Um, so I think there's plenty of more time to grow. So as long as they have all of these teams, Islanders, Devils, Sabres, Jesus, with Eichel, and a lot of these teams still have to kind of like a lot of glue and missing pieces together.
Hmm.
So for the Rangers, I think there's still time for us. And what do you think about your Devils? What are you going on with you guys?
We're streaky. I'm put it that way. They're streaky.
Yeah.
They win. They had won three in a row. They had the COVID situation where they were off for 16 days. They
I
had
know
won
it's
a
really
game.
tough. Yeah,
They came
yeah.
back. They win two games in a row. Then they lose three. Then they win one. They just lost the last two this weekend against Washington. So it's gonna be a bit of a slog for the rest of the year, having to play 4 games a week for basically the rest of the season because they missed so much time with COVID. I kind of likened it to baseball. You know how baseball in the beginning had those teams that had missed a
Yes.
bunch of games because they were being kind of under cautious with their protocols, and they had to make up a bunch of games. So I kind of make it similar
Yep.
to that. I think the Devils, they're young. Like I said, they're a young team. I think they'll make some moves before the trade deadline. Um, to get some draft capital.
Yep.
But I have hope that they're going to be they're going to be a good team again. They got a young foundation with some guys, especially Hughes up front, Ty Smith in the back. You got Blackwood between the pipes. He's turning out to be a special goalie.
Right.
I remember watching him in Albany. He played a couple of seasons in Albany. So before he got called up.
They're up in Binghamton now, right? They moved from Albany, right? The
Yeah,
Devils.
they moved to Binghamton, and I know they had the ECHL affiliate up in Glens Falls, but they opted out this season, so they won't be back until next year. But yeah, I mean, I'm pumped for the future. Right now, it's just one game at a time, and I'm sure you feel the same way about your Rangers too.
Same way.
I'm looking forward to the day when it's just a hot rivalry again between the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Devils. They'll be the top three
Yes,
circling
yes.
again.
The way it used to be, kind of like the late '90s, early 2000s. I
Yep.
mean, it was
The old
fierce,
Patrick, the
man.
old Patrick
Fierce, fierce.
Division, old Eastern Division. Yeah, I remember that. I remember
Yeah,
that so well.
yeah.
All right, Tolik. So, where can people find you? Where can they find
Yeah,
your mess
absolutely.
on your
So,
website? Where they can find you on individually on social media? Where can people find you?
it is ALTRUNITE.com. We are on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And my kids kind of got me involved, making like cool little videos to promote us on TikTok. That's been kind of a little fun. But yeah, ultranet.com, ALTRUNITE.com. We built a pretty beautiful website, and you have the opportunity to donate, get some information, send us an email if you just want to talk. So, like I said, anything that comes in goes out. If you or any of your listeners know of a facility or a family that is in need of any children's hockey gear or some assistance for their seasons, we'd be glad to help. And if there's any small or big business out there, or a sponsor or a partner that would like to join us in this venture and support us to support a community, give us a call, hit us up on social media, and we'll accept your donation and we'll take you on as a sponsor. And when we have our fundraisers or our charity hockey games, you'll be on the back of those jerseys. So, yep.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. And Tolik, are you still in the Brooklyn area?
No, I'm pretty close to you. I'm in the Albany, Schenectady area, so I'm in
Nice.
upstate New York. Yeah, I grew up in Brooklyn. I'm 8 years up here. I mean, for the price I was paying for a 2-bedroom condo on the 4th floor, I own a 4-bedroom house with a backyard and a pool and a deck. So you can't beat it. I mean, the cost of living here is a fraction as opposed to Brooklyn or the city. So,
Gotcha.
especially to raise a family with children, you come downstairs of a building or a house, you're right there on the street. Here, I can watch my kids play in the backyard with my dog running around, fenced in. So, it's definitely a night and day. So this is my new home here.
Very cool. Very cool. We're happy to have you. All right. Tolik Borts from ultranite.com. Thank you for joining me, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.